I love the JJ Redick, comparison there. One thing that I feel like a lot of people in sports love about a guy like JJ Redick, and you touch upon this, I actually want to hear your opinion, is that he does talk about the game from a different standpoint. Like you said, he played at a different level, and he also played multiple different variations. What is it, Twitch, like for you when you watch a race that you want to hear a commentator, you want to hear the announcer? What is it that you look for, like, that makes you excited to listen?
I just like hearing about certain things where it's like you see someone riding like crap, but in that industry, everyone is so, I don't know if they're scared or they just don't want anyone to know their weakness. It's like, oh yeah, so-and-so's riding with a broken pinky right now, or so-and-so had a bad crash this week, because you guys don't really talk about it because you don't want anyone knowing. Yeah. So I think it's cool.
We're so stupid that way.
I think it's cool when RC will like call people out like, hey man, yeah, you were riding like crap last week. And he's like, I didn't know you had a practice crash and you got knocked out on Monday and you raced on Saturday, So it's like, I like hearing like the back end stories of like what went on throughout the week. And if you're riding through an injury and you're not, cause like a lot of people will be killing it. And then you see them not do good for a few weekends. You're like, oh, they must just be off. But like, you didn't know they were knocked out last week and maybe almost didn't make the race this weekend.
Right. And there's so much of that going on. I mean, in the sport, there's always, almost everyone out there is riding with something, dealing with something, whether it's we talk about, I mean, guys get on the podium and talk about they missed the bike setup, right? It's kind of cliche, but it's so, especially at the 450 level, it's so important to have kind of everything clicking. If you have to be next level, generational, for everything to not be perfect and for you to win. So there's all these backstories, like Twitch said, that can be really valuable into a broadcast. If I think, and we've seen it like with the F1 Drive to Survive thing, right? If you give people, you make people kind of, I guess, attached to the riders, like emotionally, and kind of show them who they are. And everybody has a story, and that's kind of something that I think I can, help bring to the table. Is the guy there's races within the race. Yeah. We kind of, as a sport, it's like if you're not winning or on the podium, it's kind of like, it's not that big of a deal. But for, this rookie kid that's coming off of 2 broken arms in a row that got 9th, and that's maybe the springboard they need to, build their confidence, keep their ride next year. I mean, there's so many different things going on out there. I will say, once you get in the booth and you got the camera on, you got the producer in your ear and all that stuff, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of times I'd be sitting on my couch kind of growing up, and I'll be like, man, why didn't they say that? Why didn't they say that? It's easy to sit there and be like, come on, guys. Yeah. But it is, obviously it's possible, but it is more difficult than people realize.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure,
Because you have a thought in your head what you want to talk about, and then you have them in your ear telling you, hey, touch on this. And you're like,
Yeah, and it's like you're sending it down to, if there's somebody, JT, for example, sideline reporting, he'll kind of hit his little button on his microphone, talk to producer, say, hey, he can add on what James is saying about Jet, right? And then you got 15 seconds to wrap up your thought and then send it down to JT and it's back to you. So it's a lot of different things going on out there. But I want to challenge myself going forward. That stuff isn't, I used to think growing up, in the sport, it's been a long, difficult road as anything would be. I used to think that I want to just, golf and kind of just cruise it in and coast on my success. But I think the older I've gotten, the more I realize that, doing hard things is, on the other side of that, you can find a lot of peace. And
it's way more rewarding.
And just more growth. I want to keep going and not use this as a kind of this retirement as an excuse to be stagnant.